What's up, YouTube? Today we are gonna go over the Jiu Jitsu side of strength side. Josh asked me to come on today and explain some Jiu Jitsu style mobility workouts because we've noticed a lot of you are martial artists. So here are some Jiu Jitsu style movements that I do on the regular to keep my knees and my hips feeling real good. Let's go over it. A lot of you may know that in Jiu Jitsu, moving in and out of a seated position is pretty important. Whether your dojo makes you start standing up or sitting down, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about and you want to get into Jiu Jitsu, being able to fluidly move through a sitting position is so important. So today we're going to go over some drills / warm-ups that I like to implement into my practice to make sure that I have really healthy hips, really healthy knees, so I can do that. So for movement one, pretty simple here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be in our seated position, plop down into a 90-90, and basically we're just gonna move back and forth through this position. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna move my feet, I'm not really gonna move my butt too much, but basically I'm gonna come up to the seated position and then just drop down again. If this is too hard, use your hands. Don't let that ego get in the way. White belt mentality. Pretty simple. If you want to bump this up and make it into a little bit more of a workout, what we could do is when we drop our knees, we could then come up, which is also another pretty important position in Jiu Jitsu. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push down with this foot. Same thing here, I'm gonna push down with this foot, push down with this knee, and I'm gonna pop up, coming into this position. So the full movement is going to look like this. Another thing we could do in that movement to make it a little harder is add a swivel. So basically, started in my seated position, find something comfortable, I drop my knees, I come up, and my feet swivel. Movement number two, I know you've seen people do this. Jiu-Jitsu people do this, non-Jiu-Jitsu people do this. Pretty important. It's a variation of the technical stand-up. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna be in our seated position, like so. I pick a side, whatever side I pick to, I could lean on that hip, on that butt cheek. The opposite side of my hand, that foot posts. This guy is gonna drag through. So basically how that looks in the Jiu-Jitsu world, we always keep our hands up, just in case someone is approaching you. So what that looks like though, is it's gonna look like this. And from here, I could continue to go in a circle, or I could just constantly switch sides. So for the third and final movement, we're gonna start in a seated position and then we're gonna end up in what's called a duck walk or a samurai walk or whatever you want to call it. But we're gonna start here. It's gonna kind of combine some moves that we already did. I'm gonna pick a side for my technical stand-up. I'm gonna come here and then whatever leg is forward, I'm going to lunge and come up. So showing that again, I pick a side, I come up, I'm tucking this leg, I'm then lunging forward, knee hits the ground, this leg comes up. That movement is really important in Jiu Jitsu because moving from a seated position into taking a somewhat decent single leg or double leg, pretty important. Also, it's just really good for the hips, especially in this position. If you're treating it as a warm-up for Jiu Jitsu, if you're in this position, you can get a nice hip flexor stretch here as you drag forward. And hip flexors are pretty important in Jiu Jitsu. that could be another video. If you want to see my hip flexor stretching and strengthening routines, go ahead, drop a comment. If you want to see more jiu-jitsu stuff, drop a comment. Basically, if you want to see more of me, drop a comment, give this video a like, let us know what you want to see. Hope you enjoyed. Later.